I'm unmuted now. So, hello, everybody. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, you're really here early. Yeah, thank you for joining. So, this is my friend Ant.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Shaz. Nice to see you. Yeah. I'm happy. Oh, Raiko, hi. So we're having people here now from the US, India, and Switzerland. That is amazing. Thanks for joining. Yes, we have a friend here. And he's soon going to introduce himself, I guess.
Oh, whenever you want me.
I think, everybody, can you just quickly help us with the audio? So, can you hear me well? And if yes, just put a thumbs up, or you're like, yeah, we can hear you. And maybe you can say something like test or something. Just
Test.
Yeah.
How am I sounding? What's the audio like?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
I just hope that they can hear me.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you, Shaz. Can you hear Ant as well? You guys have no idea how long we've been trying to set everything up and like. So please give us a quick feedback if you could hear Ant. Yeah.
I'll keep talking.
Yeah, to keep talking. Tell us a little bit tell us about you. So, where are you from?
Shaz says, please turn on the music.
Yeah, turning it down a bit. Thank you for the feedback. I turned it down.
Well, hopefully people can hear this intro. But yeah, my name's Ant. I'm from America. I live out here in Tokyo, and I am a university student as well as a photographer here. And I mean, I think it's as simple as it gets. But yeah, I'm American. I'm out in Tokyo. I'm living my best life, trying to make moves,
Yeah,
enjoying.
that's great. Right. So, could you hear him well? If not, we're gonna do the introduction one more time, but I think it should be fine now. Yeah. Also, Shaz says, "Hi, I'm from India. Nice to meet you." He says to you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, if that's to me, then nice to meet you, Chaz.
Yeah, that was to you.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. We have we have uh, oh, it's lagging for some people. I think my internet connection is pretty good. Like so I hope for everybody else it's fine as well. Thank you for always being so patient and helping us out, or yeah, me out mainly, because I'm not a good technical person, as you all already know. I'm gonna move this up here. So yeah, so Shaz is introducing himself to you. He says, I'm a 3D architectural visualizer planning to come to Japan in the near future.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
That's
What is like 3D architectural visualizer? Do you know what that is?
that's the question I was gonna ask.
Ah, okay, sorry, yeah. Maybe Shaz, you can explain to us a little bit like what you are doing. Is it like planning buildings with like a 3D thing? And he's a big anime and manga fan.
Now that I can get behind. Me
Yeah,
too.
right? Yeah. Yeah, we are always talking about anime and manga. And in the future, there will be a lot of content about that, us being just otaku. So look forward to that.
Is I feel like so I did a test.
Mm.
I turned up the sound because I have the feed or the live stream going as well,
Mm.
and it sounds like I was really loud, like my mic was really loud. But
Ah,
I
okay.
would
So
like
maybe
to.
I turn you
I'll-
down a little bit. Okay, I've turned
Hey
you down a little
Shaz, am I pretty loud when I talk?
bit. Interior and exterior designing according to architecture. Ah, so you do 3D architectural designs. Ah, yeah, you said you're an interior designer once. I remember. Ah, okay, that's pretty cool. So, yeah. Okay. I think we're kind of set up now. I turned your volume down a little bit as well. So
Okay.
now it's like in the green area. And turn mine. Was my audio okay? I hope. Okie dokie. So let's get started. So usually, I mean, and you're a guest here, but you also joined a few times as a visitor, as a viewer. Make me really happy. So at the beginning of each stream, we are going to open some like otaku geeky stuff. So I got this waffle snack. I already bought a few like a few weeks ago before I tried it actually, and turns out this snack inside here does not taste very well. But we don't need the waffle. We are in for the loot, and the loot is going to be a really cute anime girl card from the new Love Life School Idol project. So who has already watched Love Life? Have you ever watched a Love Life show? And
No, I have not.
no, you're not
Uh,
into idol animes.
yeah, it's not that I'm not into idol animes. I never heard of it until I came to Japan, honestly.
Mm.
Um, but there were a few idol shows that I started. I never finished. Um, one of them is a number. It's like 23/7 or something. Um, and then another one was
Ah.
with this boy band, which is honestly really cool. But
Ah.
those are the two
Yeah.
I don't want to say.
Yeah. 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 Idol anime is like getting more and more popular, but like Love Life, I think it's the third or fourth season.
Hmm.
And I've watched the first season. I really liked the first one. I cosplay quite a lot of it. And then I tried to watch the second one. It was not as good, but the design is cute. And yeah. And let's say one thing, like the marketing in
Yeah.
Japan, like works always on me. Like the advertisement. I always buy stuff I really don't need just because it looks cute. Yeah.
I mean, that's Japan in general.
Yeah, that's true. So we got, I think, the main character. Look at this. Isn't she cute? But she kind of looks like Honoka from the first season. So this is the one thing that like bothers me a bit about Love Life is that the characters look very similar to the characters from the show before. So that's why it feels very repetitive to me. So, well, anyway, and there's the waffle inside, but I'm not gonna eat it now because I just had dinner. Okay, so that was the loot for today. And I'll be having a look if I can find different things. I usually buy them in kombini, in like Japanese convenience stores. And they sometimes even have like, what should I say? They sometimes have like merchandise in kombinis, right? Have you also seen it? Like especially like Kimetsu no Yaiba or like One Piece sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because on my way back, I did stop in a convenie before I came to my place, but they had Spider-Man merch just because, Marvel just came out with the latest movie.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, they've
yeah.
always got different specials and collabs.
Mm. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Yeah, Spider-Man. I haven't watched the new one. I haven't watched any of the new Spider-Mans. I'm just gonna be honest.
Okay. Not gonna say anything.
He's like, I think I have to end the friendship here now. I also have to admit that I'm not a very big Marvel fan, but before everybody leaves, everybody is allowed to love what they love and is allowed to dislike what they dislike, okay? So we don't judge. Um anyway, so let me tell you one thing about Ant. Ant is currently in quarantine, right? Or you were in quarantine.
Sorry, yes, I
Yeah.
am in quarantine.
Yeah.
Um,
So you just
I
got out
have
of the
7 more days of
yeah,
quarantine. So
yeah,
it's not bad. It's not bad.
yeah. You're finally back home, right? So, can you explain how quarantine is here in Japan, like when you come back from like abroad?
Yeah. So you will have to quarantine a specific amount of time in a hotel. The hotels are provided by the government, so that's really amazing because I heard other countries you have to pay for it
Mm,
yourself. Um, in terms of how long you have to stay, I think it depends on where you're flying in from.
mm,
Because the paperwork they handed us, there's
yeah,
3 options. Some people quarantine for 3 days, and
mm,
then they do 11 days at their own residence. Then there's a 6 day option and a 10 day option.
mm,
Since I was coming back from America, that might be why I was selected for 6 days. So I did 6 days of quarantine in a hotel
mm,
until they released me, and now I'm back home. But it was a nice hotel. I mean, I think I got lucky. I got the Prince Hotel, which is usually a pretty higher end style
mm.
hotel. Um, and it was nice. The only downside that was annoying after a while was the cold food that was constantly served.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we found ways around that.
Yeah, yeah. I saw like a few of my friends at the moment are in quarantine, and all of you guys have like similar stories about like how to heat up the food because there's no microwave in the room. So, yeah. Yeah. But all in all of them are pretty like happy with the way the quarantine is. Like just as you said, like a nice hotel is provided by the government. I know of a few friends who left Japan and had to do quarantine back in their home country, and they had to pay either partially or the whole price of the hotel. which is really crazy. So yeah. Vampire Fiend says to you, and hello from Navajo Nation, new friend.
Hey, what's going
Yeah.
on?
Have you ever been to Navajo? And
No,
no,
honestly, I don't even know what that is. I hope that doesn't sound bad.
it's in the States.
Navajo?
Navajo.
What state is that in?
Um, isn't a state called Navajo? Or is it an area?
No,
It's like a uh um how do you explain it? It's a reservoir. What do you call it? Where I think there are mainly Native Americans who live there.
hmm.
Yeah. I always heard, like, I often heard of it because I am kind of like interested in like Native American culture and like these things. So I've heard Navajo like quite a lot of times. So I knew exactly like but yeah.
I'm sure it's a region or a
Yeah.
city or something. It's not a state.
Yeah.
Um, Vampire Fiend, can you tell us what state Navajo is in?
Yeah. Hey, nice to see you again. Thank you for joining. How have you been, girl? Good to see you. Today we're having a guest. My friend Ant is here. Yeah. Did you say hi? Ant?
Oh, I waved.
Ah,
My
you
bad.
waved. I
Sorry.
thought like, oh no, the audio crashed. No,
No, I thought you
I'm
were
so
still talking, so
paranoid.
I just gave a little wave. Uh,
Okay, perfect. So, guys, we are going to answer a few questions we've got on Instagram, and you are also allowed to, like, of course, ask questions at any time and leave them in the chat, and we'll try to reply to a lot of them, and all of them actually. So, yeah. Um, I want to start with a few questions I got from Instagram that was specifically about teaching in Japan. So the difference between Ant and me is that Ant is here as a student, so we'll be talking a lot about like studying in Japan later, and then he'll be your like man to ask all the questions, all the burning questions about that, because I won't be able to provide you information regarding that. But he also has a part-time job, right? And what is your part-time job?
yeah, I am the official title is English facilitator for a company called Lancole. But in short, we work at different cafes and we just provide a comfortable environment for non-English speakers to practice their listening and speaking skills in English. So much like we're doing now, or Jess and I are doing now, or we're just having a discussion. That's what I do for work, so it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah. In Japan, it's like very popular, especially in like bigger cities. So, like Tokyo, for example, has more and more like language cafes. And you can find all kinds of languages here, like even like French or German. So yeah. Um, so he's also doing some sort of like English service or English teaching, conversational teaching. And as you guys know, is I am a teacher here in Japan with my own teaching business, and I got a few questions on Instagram, and I just want to reply to them. And also, and might also have a few things to say about them. So yeah, let's get started. Let me open it. Do, 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 do. I opened up everything before and now it's closed again. Yeah. So, um, one of the questions I got over on Instagram from Elisa. Thank you, Elisa, for the question. Do you have to have studied teaching at university, and what kind of certificates do you need? So, in order to work as a teacher, you do need a degree. You don't necessarily in Japan, as an English teacher or foreign language teacher, need a certificate, a degree in teaching, but you do need a degree. Um, so yeah, certificates, I don't know, like the more certificates you have, the better it is. Yeah, but for a part-time job or a job like Ant is doing, do you need to have a degree for that as like an English buddy, English speaking buddy in your company? Do you need like a degree, or is it enough to just be like an English native speaker?
No, there's no degree required. Um, they do have a pretty extensive interview process.
Mm,
It's a three-stage process, and mostly you don't have to be a native speaker in English. Um, they just want to see that, I guess, you're comfortable speaking in front of people,
mm,
and that you can sort of manage a conversation
yeah.
with, a group of people.
Mm,
But they find it actually to be beneficial to have diversity.
mm,
So some of us, yeah, are native speakers, but we also have plenty of mates, is what we're called.
mm,
So we have plenty of mates from all over the world,
mm,
and so them not being native speakers in English sometimes benefits some of the members that we have that join because maybe their accent or their pace at speaking is a little more easier to understand.
mm,
So no degree, just they just want to make sure that you can
yeah.
conversate with people.
Yeah. Does your company provide a visa as well, or is it enough that you have like a student visa and you work like as a part-timer there?
They do.
Mm,
So the visa is only supplied, from my understanding, for full-time people.
mm,
So most of us mates are part-time,
mm,
and we're either students or we have visas through other means.
mm,
Um, but there are some full-time mates, and then there's the other full-time staff sort of work the back end of the company, manage the HR department, the
okay.
IT,
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
Um, but I believe if you're with my company long enough, you could, start talking and putting your name in the box for like, full-time visa privileges.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So, someone is asking how long you've been in Japan and
Uh, in Tokyo, I've been here for a full year. But my first time in Japan was in Okinawa, which I did 3.5 years. So in total, 4.5 years.
okay. Wait, you're
And
in total here since 4.5 years.
yeah,
See, this is also something I misunderstood.
why?
I knew you were in Okinawa, but I thought everything in total was 1 year. I don't know
Oh
why.
no,
But
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, we all figured out that my brain sometimes doesn't like work as like yeah. Like a healthy brain,
And
I guess. A
Vampire
neurotypical brain.
Fiend said Navajo Nation is a reservation in 3 states of Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Mm,
awesome.
yeah.
I've honestly I've never even been on the towards the West Coast.
Mm,
The furthest I've been out was Kansas. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I've only been in Florida once.
that's where I'm currently from.
Currently from. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, but this is about it. Like you you definitely to get a visa, usually you need some sort of degree, especially when it comes to teaching. They want you to have a bachelor's degree if you for a visa sponsorship. If you like and have a student visa, then you're allowed to do a certain amount of hours as a part-time job. Like I think usually it's like 20 to 25 hours you're allowed to do part-time.
Max of 28 hours.
28 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, how you fill these up is up to you. So, there are usually no limits except for nightlife jobs. I guess it's the same for you, I guess, right?
Yeah, because the student visas, I don't know if it's a student visa
Mm,
that's prohibits you or just working part. No, yeah, I guess student visa. But yeah, you can't work in any type of nightlife
yeah,
establishment. Like
yeah,
even me as a photographer, I can't be a photographer for a bar or a club.
mm, yeah, yeah. Because I came here on a working holiday visa, and I also had the restriction of like, yeah.
Mm.
Well, I think everybody has it. Like, you're not allowed to work in nightlife. I think that might change if you have the permanent residency, but then it's like a status change and not a visa change. Like, yeah. But I don't know. But yeah. So the freedom with a student visa is similar to a working holiday visa. You can basically work everywhere. You can work in a restaurant, you can work in a combini, you can do all sorts of part-time jobs, which you can't do if you have a proper working visa. Like, yeah, if you have a working visa, because yeah, that is prohibited. They only want like high qualified, yeah, stuff, or like high qualified people with um yeah, who work in Japan, who get a work visa. Except there are a few exceptions, but if you want to know more about like visa details, I'm kind of like drifting away. I'm sorry. You can watch my visa video. So yeah, let's go
Video.
back to the questions. So um, Mbu from Instagram asked actually two questions. One question is, what are the most fun parts of the job? So, what are the most fun parts for you in the job?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, just meeting people.
Mm,
The fact that my job revolves around just talking and meeting people from all walks of life is really cool because you meet, elderly people, young people, you meet people from different types of scenes and backgrounds, and you just get to hear their stories, their experiences, and just genuinely just have a good time
mm,
talking with people. Uh, so that in itself, I think, is the best part. Yeah.
yeah. Are they're also like from different age groups?
Yeah, I believe you have to be 18 and
Mm,
older to sign up. But yeah, I've had some members that I believe are in their 70s,
mm,
as well as I've had members that were like
yeah.
19, 20,
Yeah.
and sometimes at the same table. So it
Mm,
becomes interesting, having a conversation with
yeah,
such a
yeah,
huge
yeah.
age gap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When different generations like get into
Yeah.
a discussion, yeah. Yeah, this is actually something I've heard quite a lot, is that in English cafes or stuff like that, there are like people from every age, basically, every age group. And because Japan is a country with like a lot of elderly people, you will have a lot of contact with elderly people. And they're actually, I don't know how your experiences were, but so far when I've met elderly people, they were always really happy. Or like, I even met an old man who started talking to me on the streets because he said since he's retired, he started learning English. So and he never sees foreigners in the neighborhood, so he just started talking to me, and I thought it's really really cute. So
That
they're
that
really
is.
open and they're really curious. Yeah, how are your experience with like elderly people in Japan?
No, no, the same.
Mm,
It's just I feel Japanese people overall are just so courteous
mm,
and friendly and nice.
mm,
Um, I would say in a public environment, just out and at random.
mm.
Um, I feel maybe us as foreigners, we might have to initiate certain conversations
Yeah,
with
that's
people.
true. Yeah.
But say in my work environment or a social environment where it's like it's okay, it's expected to talk to other people.
Mm,
Yeah, all the interactions have been amazing,
yeah.
warm, great.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like, people here in general are very curious. They might not do the first step necessarily, but it's a positive kind of curiosity they have, I feel
Mm,
like. Um, even if like they stare at you. I mean, I've said it on this live stream like a million times. Like Japanese people, they don't hide when they like are curious or interested in you. Like they just stare at you like right into your eyes, and
Yeah.
like there's no awkwardness for them. It's like completely normal because you are something different. So of course
Yeah.
they're looking at you. I don't know. So especially in the train or some situations like that, like I often have people like look at me. Yeah.
Have you ever been like off in like the countryside or just somewhere away from like Tokyo, I guess, or a lot of foreign presence?
Yeah, I did. I did. Like, the very first time when I traveled to Japan, actually, I ended up in like a really small town called Kawachi Nagano in Osaka Prefecture. And I really loved that town. But we were like, me and my friends, instead of taking the bus to the park we wanted to go, we just decided to walk. So we had to walk through the area where everybody was living. And I think they're really not used to foreigners. But also, my friends who were with me are really tall. Like my friend, she is 1 meter 80, so she's really tall. So and she has like blonde long hair and like two foreign girls, and then, like her husband is like 2 meters tall. So we were quite like a sight. But like people just came up and like asked us if we needed help because they thought we were like lost, and they just
Mm.
talked to us. I had an old man talk to me, telling me his whole story about like, I don't know, like his wife and his garden and his cat. And even if you don't understand a word, you're just like nodding and smiling. They're just so happy to just interact with you. I don't know. I think it's so cute. How about
Yeah.
Okinawa? Like, how are people there?
Okinawa, it's the same, same as here. I mean, I think you'd be. Uh, it's a fine. How can I word this? See, now I'm messing up my words.
Don't
Um,
worry.
in terms of like comparing who's nicer or who's more friendly, Okinawan or Tokyo, I really don't think it's that much different, especially from a foreigner's aspect.
Mm.
Uh, so they're just as warm and awesome. Um, but going back to the whole like staring thing,
Mm.
when I used to be in the military, so for those of you, and I had a training exercise in Hokkaido. It was my first time up there, and I don't believe there's any American military bases close. There may be some in Hokkaido, but not close to the area that we were in.
Mm.
So the one time we were able to leave base, we went out to a few restaurants, and then we ended up at a club. And I kid you not, well, the table that me and my friends were standing at was in the center. But I looked around, and every other table, corner, section, group of people was just staring at us. And not like when we made eye contact, they didn't look away.
No, they
They
don't.
just stared.
They just stare.
And it felt really weird at first. And then someone, just as the night went on, some guy approached us and was like, "Hey," and he spoke English, obviously.
Mm.
He was like, "Where are you guys from?" And so we said, "America," and he was like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and it was I don't know, it was so bewildering. Like, I'm here for an exercise, but I guess yeah, they don't get many foreigners or Americans
Yeah.
out in that area. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think Tokyo is different. Like even people still stare at you, but like they're used to foreigners,
yeah,
especially in certain areas. So yeah, but yeah, but yeah. If you ever come to Japan, they will stare at you,
yeah,
and they won't look away. They will just stare, and you just what I do. I usually smile back, or I just smile at them. Yeah.
and in Okinawa, honestly, it's a small island, but
Mm.
I think there's a higher concentration of foreigners and Americans because
Yeah.
there's so many bases there. So I think to Okinawans, from their perspective, seeing foreigners is becoming the norm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I've heard a lot like because I have a friend who is from Okinawa, and she also told me there are a lot of foreigners because of the military base. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the next question. The next question is also from Embu. What's it like working with other Japanese teachers as a foreigner or Japanese people? So how is it for you working with Japanese? Do you work with Japanese?
Yeah. So some of our like HR management or marketing team, they're Japanese.
Mm,
Uh, I don't know if we have any mates that are Japanese. Um, it's possible. I haven't met all the mates, but yeah,
mm,
there's Japanese people within Lanco that I've met at some of like the Lanco functions and stuff.
yeah.
Um, and so I don't get to interact with them too often,
Mm.
but you know,
But
what
it's
about you though?
yeah.
Or did I not answer?
No, no, no. Yeah, no, no. You did. Sorry, sorry. No, no. I was just gonna ask, like, has there ever been like a misunderstanding due to like you being American and someone else being Japanese, like lost in translation kind of thing, or like cultural differences?
Mm, with coworkers, no, just because I haven't had that many experiences with them.
Mm,
Like I was introduced to them, like this is so and so, they handle this. This is so and so, they take care of this. Um, but no, I haven't, had enough experiences, I think, for anything like that to
mm,
happen. But outside of work, definitely for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Whether it be at school or the conveni or
Mm, yeah,
the bank.
yeah. Going to the bank in Japan is terrible.
Uh,
But let's not talk about this.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, yes. So I'm working with Japanese. I also have Japanese part-timers who work for me as well. I think did you ever meet Hina? Yes, you did, right? No?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah,
did.
so Hina
I did.
worked for me as well. She was my assistant too. So yeah, and it is very interesting because how should I say, with younger Japanese, it's usually they're very curious. They kind of like admire you a little bit because you're like the older sister kind of like type, and like you're teaching them something. So that way, and I love being a mentor. That's like really one of the things I love like about my life, my job, my whatever. Like I just like that. So this is very interesting. They have a lot of questions. It's very interactive, but also usually they are very into foreign culture and
Mm,
like
mm,
Netflix shows and like like all these things. So they approach it like differently. Whereas I used to teach at a school like a nursery school, and I just recently quit there. um, because how should I thank you? Yeah, if there's one thing I've learned from the past is if there is a place that doesn't make you feel good work wise, like you hesitate to go or like you feel stressed to go, and it has an effect on you physically as well, which it does more because I have chronic illnesses, so things are a bit like tougher for me sometimes, or like have a bigger of an impact, I guess. I just have to like end it. So I'm not saying they did like a really bad job or anything. That's not what I'm saying, but I think we were not a good match, and I think there were things mentality wise that didn't work out. So
mm, mm,
if I am hired to, or like if my job is to uh, manage a group of kids and manage the assistant teachers, and then the only feedback of my work I get from the assistant teacher who got it from the big boss who told her to tell me what I need to change, and me then asking, okay, I'm all about feedback because this is how I like can grow, how I can improve. But if that feedback does not make sense to me and I ask questions like, oh, what are the goals for the children? Like, what do they have to achieve in like 1 month, for example? Do we have it written down somewhere so I can have a look at it and I can work towards these goals? And all I get back as an answer is, no, we don't. And then my question is, well, why is my class then the class that makes the least progress if we don't have a tool to actually like
Yeah. Yeah.
measure the progress? So yeah, these were like things that were a little bit like difficult sometimes, especially um, talking about topics that are a bit difficult to talk about. I had suspected a child to be on the spectrum, and I told them, shouldn't we talk to the parents that they may have it tested, like may have like go through like a checkup because the child is suffering. This is not
Mm.
an
Mm.
environment right now. Like we if we know what is exactly going on, we can adapt the environment a little bit. So it will be easier for that child to join
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
But these are topics that are still taboo topics here, quite a lot. And if you work with Japanese, they want to make they don't like delivering bad. It's not a bad message. That's not what I'm saying. But like I don't know how to say it without sounding like bad, but like, you know, if you have like 10 children in the group and there's like one child that has that's always reacting the same way towards sound, for example, there is something going on. If there is a child that has like a repetitive behavioral pattern that fits that category of like being on the spectrum,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's still seen as something bad here. So it's better not to talk about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's better not to tell the parents because they will figure it out. They already know it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is something I'm just so not used to. Like,
Oh. Oh.
yeah, I've worked with children on the spectrum and I had to talk to parents as well. And of course, at the beginning, it is really challenging for them because they they don't have a knowledge about like having a child on the spectrum, but they are also really grateful because finally get they understand their child and why it's acting the way it's acting, and they can change a few things and they actually see how they can interact with the child in a better way for both of them to like understand each other and stuff like that. But anyway, so yeah, this is something where like I realized it's sometimes difficult. Yeah. Or like I don't know how is it in like in America? Like when someone asks me a question and I don't hear it properly and I do like, huh? Like, huh? Like as a response, is that seen as like aggressive in America? If you do, huh? Hmm?
Uh,
Huh? Like not
no,
no,
no.
right?
I, yeah, because
Yeah,
I mean,
because
America
I
is
mean,
so
America is
much
so much
more. If
more.
we're saying if we're using the word aggressive,
aggressive,
Mm.
I think out of most
out of
places in the world,
most places in the world,
America's in the
America's in the
tops of
tops of
aggressive
aggressive
type people.
type
Mm.
people.
So and
So
with
and
that type of
with that type of
behavior,
behavior,
like
like
the behavior
the
becomes
behavior becomes
normalized.
Mm.
normalized.
So like
So like
whoever you're talking
whoever you're
to,
talking
and you're like,
to,
huh?
and you're like,
Like
huh?
that's
Like
just normal.
that's just normal.
Maybe
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
some
Maybe in
countries
some
it's like a
countries
little
it's like a little
disrespectful, but like no,
disrespectful, but
that's
like no, that's
normal in America.
normal in
Yeah,
America.
but you know, like even if you say it to a teacher, they would be like, "What did you just say?" But like in a funny way, I guess they wouldn't be like, "What did you just say?" You know, like they would, or like, "I don't understand." Ha, what is ha? Ha is not a word. That is maybe the biggest extent where someone would like go to like to reply if you do ha. But here in Japan, it's really aggressive. It's
Mm.
like so. This is one misunderstanding I once had with a manager at the Irish pub I worked at because he said something, but I was doing the dishes and I was like, huh? And huh in Japanese is like a really aggressive way to reply. Like,
Ah.
so he thought, what's going on with her? Like, you want to start a fight? You know, like he was
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
and he wouldn't talk for a while. Yeah, and I realized it like became quiet And then my boss explained to me next time when I came, and he said like, yeah, I don't know what happened, but you said this. And I was like, yeah, I did. And he was like, yeah, this is just don't do it. Like for Japanese people, it's really, really rude. It's extremely rude. And I really didn't mean it. And everything was fine. I explained myself, but yeah, cultural differences. Yeah, sometimes. But all in all, it's really nice, as you said. And from one of my assistant teachers in a school I teach, I got a really cute gachapon gift
All right, what'd you get? All right, what'd you get?
because I sent her through line. Do you know Ranma?
Uh, maybe by picture.
It's the boy when water gets poured over him, he turns into a girl.
No.
No, nah, it's a really like it's a 90s anime. And she got me one of the characters of the show from a gachapon.
Kawaii.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's really cute. I thought it was really cute. Like she always gives me presents. I don't know. So it can be good and bad having Japanese work colleagues, but I think that's with every workplace, I guess. You can have good colleagues and bad colleagues. So yeah.
You know what?
Yeah. We just got some. Sorry, just let's have a look at the chat. Lei says, or Asura, hey, I just joined. This topic is so interesting. So yeah, glad you're enjoying it. Sorry. Yeah. So I
And please ask questions if you haven't.
Yeah, if you have any questions, just as Ant said, just yeah, leave them in the chat. And you guys will eventually anyway meet because Lei is soon coming to Japan.
Who is?
Asura.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Word.
She's soon coming.
You know what? I didn't even think about this earlier when you asked, like, what my experiences are with working with Japanese coworkers. They're not coworkers, but the members that I interact with, you know, every day. That's, there's definitely sometimes situations where it's lost in translation or it's a little difficult to understand each other because of the cultural differences. But so I didn't even consider that.
Yeah. But how was your experience there? Like overall positive, or did you sometimes have situations where it like awkwardly got like quiet suddenly because I don't know.
You can't hear Ant's voice. There's an echo.
Oh, we have an echo.
I wonder if because I don't have headphones. So yeah, they might be hearing the audio from my screen coming through my mic.
Ah.
Headphones on.
Okay. Oh,
I think
hi,
that'll
Mr.
play.
Boo. Oh, we just answered your questions from Instagram. We just replied to your questions. Just like 5 minutes ago. How are you doing? Yeah. Thank you, Ray, for the feedback about the echo. So please let us know if it's like getting better. Okay. So, oh, now I could just hear me as well, probably through.
All right, can you hear me now?
Okay. So please, guys, just keep us updated when there is an echo or any technical issues. But all in all, can't we just get like a little applause that we managed to like set this up today? Ant and I have literally been like on and off like in calls like since 3, so since like 7 hours.
Yeah. And look how nice.
Yeah, we did a good job. So yeah, I'll just get a shoulder tab myself. You can also get a shoulder tab yourself. I'll give you a shoulder tab.
That's all you.
Yeah. So yeah, Mr. Boo says he's good and he asks us how we are. How are you, Ant?
I'm peachy. I'm doing good. Mr. Vu. And I like your name. By the way.
Mr. Boo. Yeah, I like the name too. We all love some Dragon Ball. Yeah, I'm also doing good. I'm a little bit I'm a little bit tired, but I'm also like hyped. Do you know this feeling? Like when your body is getting like a little bit tired, but like your mind, like you're just like so hyper for things.
I
I
do know that
do know
feeling,
that feeling,
but I think
but I think
they said
they
that there
said
is
that
still
there is
somewhat of an
still somewhat
echo.
of an echo.
Oh,
But she said it's
She said
better.
it's
yeah.
better.
I don't know how to
I don't know how to
fix
Ah,
fix
it's
that.
fine. I
that.
think, like I think on my first or second stream, there was also like an echo for like the first 40 minutes. And then someone said suddenly like, oh, there is an echo. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
people still stayed. But I, yeah, I can't see anything on my OBS right now, like that is like turned on for it to be an echo. So I don't know. Let's just focus on talking.
Yeah.
If it starts getting stronger or anything, just give us a feedback. So yeah. Anyway, so we have um another question from I have two more questions from Instagram about teaching, and then we'll go into the topic about studying in Japan because I'm sure Anne has a lot to tell us about
Uh,
it.
we'll say.
We'll see. So Vampire Fiend asked on Instagram, and I'm sure you're still there, even though it's like super early morning in Navajo. Is there much bullying towards alternative kids? Um, I don't work in a traditional like Japanese school. So I work in schools where kids come after school. So sometimes they wear like their regular clothes instead of like school uniforms. So I can't really talk about the bullying topic. Um, I don't know, but I would guess that like the more you stand out, the more you like rebel when it comes to like the rules in like clo- clothes, like uniform wise for school uniforms, you can get in troubles, especially with teachers. But to be honest, I don't know about you, and but I see so many like schoolgirls who like shorten their skirts, like they roll it up, and like it's like I thought these things are like only like anime, like only in anime that they have like really short skirts, but actually the girls like roll them up and they're like barely covering their like butt.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that when they enter school, the teachers will tell them like put it back. But outside of school, they do all sorts of changes to the uniform sometimes. I feel like.
Yeah, one of
Yeah,
my
one of
friends
my
actually
friends actually
filled me in
filled me in
on that
on that
because I yeah, that was my
that was
question.
my
Like I was
question.
like,
Like I was like,
why are some of
why are
the
some of the
uniforms,
uniforms,
different lengths and
different
stuff?
lengths and stuff?
So I believe
So
most
I
schools
believe
they do
most schools they
have
do have
a dress
a
code and there's
dress
a
code and
specific
there's a
length
specific
the
length
skirts
the
have to be.
skirts have to be.
So she said for
So
her
she said for
school
her school,
it had to
it
be, I
had to be, I
believe,
believe,
beneath the
beneath
knee.
the knee.
Mm,
And so
And
when girls
so
go to
when girls go to
school,
school,
they will roll
they
it up
will
a
roll it up
bit
a
so it's
bit
not
so it's not
completely beneath the
completely
knee. They'll
beneath the knee. They'll
sometimes try and get
sometimes
away
try and
with
get
it
away
being
with it
above the
being
knee.
above the knee.
And yeah, the teachers
And
will
yeah, the
say
teachers will say
something.
yeah.
something.
But when they
But
leave
when they
school,
leave
that's
school,
so, and
that's
especially
so, and
around like the
especially around
city
like the
area, like
city area, like
Shibuya,
Yeah.
Shinjuku, you'll
Shinjuku,
see them
you'll
where it's
see them
rolled
where
up
it's rolled up
completely, and it's like,
Yeah.
completely, and it's like,
what's going on here?
what's going
Yeah.
on?
What are we doing?
What are
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah,
doing?
yeah, exactly, exactly. Because there's always this thing where like, how should I say, like, um, um, people who are like against anime and like J culture, and they always say like, oh, in school uniforms, girls get so sexualized and blah blah blah. But how should I say, the girls do. Of course, there is a kind of like fetishizing going on. I'm not like saying this doesn't, but the girls, especially, I moved to Kanagawa, like the skirt length, I just can't, right? It's really crazy. They do it themselves, but I think we also experimented with fashion and showing skin, like
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. So we just had different options with like a little bit of cleavage. Or the boys, when I went to high school, they kind of like, I think it was almost like turning into a competition who has um their denims like the lowest, like who, like like the skater boys,
Sagging.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the saggy,
Yeah.
like when it was like just under their like butts and you could see like their boxer shorts and stuff like that. So yeah, because boys after school, they also make like the tie pretty loose. They open like a few buttons as well with their school uniform. So both genders are just like kind of like figuring it out. But when it comes to like scene kid, I think you're referring to like goth metal scene-ish in this like question. I think this is almost impossible to pull off at school because there are these rules. So you're not allowed to dye your hair in a lot of schools, almost all of them. Um, you are in most of them you're not allowed to wear makeup. They're very strict about this, or like nail polish. So this is why I think in school, when it comes to this, it's really difficult. You're even, I think, those of you who have been here when Hina was with me on the live stream, she even explained that they had to use black hair ties. They couldn't use scrunchies or anything. So even hairstyle wise, you couldn't put in like creative clips or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, but bullying is definitely a big topic in Japan, but I haven't come across that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. The last question from Instagram is from Gordon Golden. I don't have any certificates or diploma. Will I be able to do any teaching work in Japan at all? I think that ties in with what I've said before. If you want to work at a school, you do need a diploma or like a degree. But if you come here as a student or on a working holiday visa, you will be able to find jobs that don't require you to have a degree. But then it will be more like a language cafe. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, more like in a sense of like a part-time job. Okie dokie. So let's get to the exciting part now, because I can't tell you a lot about studying abroad in Japan because, yeah, I am not studying here, and also I've never went to university, so I can't tell you guys anything about that. So that's why we have Ant here. So he's going to reply to any questions you guys have. I have a few questions myself I want to ask, but please feel free to leave them in the chat, okay? So, Ant, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And first of all, I can say this. There's nothing fun about studying in college. But yeah, we could definitely touch on the experiences here.
Yeah. Um, so, oh, we just got a question before we start yours because this ties into the question before. Sometimes with the delay, we get the questions like a minute later. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Boo
Yeah.
asks, how difficult was it, Jessica, for you when finding jobs on your working holiday? It was very, very easy because, as I said, with the working holiday visa, you don't have a lot of restrictions, and your future employee also doesn't need to get into like a big commitment. When they sponsor you, it's a big commitment. If you just work there as part-time or like on a working holiday visa, they don't need to act as your sponsors. So a lot of companies are actually happy to employ people with a working holiday visa. But it also depends what kind of job you want to do. Teaching jobs, they want you to usually stay for a year or like 6 months. Um, but part-time jobs, such as me working as a waitress, very easy. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay. So let's move on. Okay. So, and I would like to know, and I'm sure the others here also want to know, how come you decided to study in Japan and not in the US, for example, or anywhere else?
That is an easy question. much like I think most people feel when they come up to Japan the first time. Japan is just a phenomenal country. And my time in Okinawa, I really fell in love with it. So, I necessarily did not want to come back to school. I felt like I was a little too old for it. I can, I know ways of obtaining knowledge and learning things. But during the pandemic, trying to find a job and get hired from the States and be brought over was difficult. So one of my options, my last resort was to enroll back in school. So school pretty much was my vehicle to come back to Japan. Now I'm here. I can build a foundation from that. But yeah. That's why I'm going to Japan. Let's say, come back to Japan.
Yeah. Okay. So first you came with the military, and then now you came as a student.
Yeah. And I think most students. So the university I go to is Temple University. It's a American school. So
okay.
we do have a lot of American students, foreign students. The diversity is insane.
Okay.
There's a lot of Japanese students as well, so it's also a good experience for Japanese students who want sort of a American style university experience, but not like diving too deep and moving to America and going to school. They can do it here. Hey, Shinya.
Hey, Jess.
Echo Ant.
Shut up, Shinya. Thank you for coming. Hi.
I'm not coming through your audio on your computer, am I?
No.
Okay.
Because I already checked that.
But the American students that are at Temple, I think it's the same across the board. Nothing against Temple University. It's a fine establishment. But no one really wanted to go to Temple because of Temple. They joined Temple University of Japan because they wanted to come to Japan. So.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's just an assumption. You can correct me. But like, I have the feeling a lot of people who come to Japan and study in Japan, or like, in the first place, they want to come back to Japan, no matter how. Like, their main goal is to be back in this country. And I feel a lot of them are just like you and me, just like straight up otakus and anime fans.
Yeah, that is. It's not everybody.
No, not everybody, but I think a vast majority, or like a lot of people are.
Yeah.
No,
100%.
Yeah. Shinya says, is it coming out of OBS and Discord or something? I don't know. We can't find it out right now, so I'm not quite sure. But on my OBS settings, he is, there's only one source for him. So, yeah. We're sorry, but I think we kind of just have to live with it right now. So
we'll figure it out next time.
We'll workshop. Time. And maybe next time you'll be here too, Shinya. Who knows?
You'll be the echo.
You'll be the echo.
Shinya.
Yeah, then it will be hello. Then Ant can say, "Hey Jess," and echo Shinya. Yeah, but you just said there's like a big like diversity. So, in what language are your classes?
English.
English.
So.
Yeah. So, is there a possibility to learn Japanese, or like to take Japanese classes as well, or?
Of course, yeah. My first semester here, I took a Japanese course. Very basic beginner. But we are Japanese major. So one of my friends here, he is a Japanese major. So his whole intent is to learn Japanese.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But are there actually classes that are done in Japanese, like classes about, I don't know, a certain topic or something?
The Japanese classes, like the language classes,
Mm.
those are obviously conducted in Japanese.
Yeah.
And the higher level you go, it's the advanced students, it's pretty much all Japanese is what they speak in.
Mm.
But in terms of maybe classes about Japan,
Yeah.
about Japanese history, Japanese economy, Japanese business and things like that. We do have a lot of courses about just Japan in general. So it's not all American history studies, American literature.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Japanese influence in our studies as well.
Okay. Yeah.
But those are in English.
Okay. And what is your major?
I'm a comms major or communications.
Communications.
But more on the video production side, because there's comms is so broad.
Mm.
So I don't like writing. I don't think there's too many people that do like writing. But the video production side, I'm dealing with camera equipment, lighting, sound, editing, sort of like the behind the scenes of movies and shows, script writing. So much like we're doing now. So it's perfect.
That's good. We can practice together. Hi, Marie. Nice to see you.
What is up, Marie?
Yeah, we actually played Among Us with her together.
Oh, hey, Marie.
I'm always connecting like the people.
I still remember what you did to me the first round.
What did I do?
No, Marie.
Ah, Marie. Because
Marie
I was
killed
like,
me.
every time I was imposter, I got kicked out in the first round because I'm so bad at lying. Or I'm so proud that I killed someone that I'm just like, Jess, did you do it? No. So, yeah. Anyway. So, I'm happy to see you, Marie. How are you doing?
I'm 18, by the way.
Yeah. I
Not
told her.
The Coomer.
Yeah, he's 18
Okay,
years old,
okay.
guys. And is 18 years old.
I look it right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good part to say, okay, after the live stream is over, you should definitely go out and check out Ant's YouTube channel, 18's Nation. 18, because he's 18. Forever 18.
It was okay. To clear the air. It was my football number when I played back in high school. So it just stuck with me. I noticed I see 18 everywhere, and so it just becomes a very special number for me.
Nice. 18 is a special number for you. Potatoes are special for me. So, yeah. We all have our special
18 and potatoes.
I see potatoes everywhere. Every time I look up in the sky, I say, oh, this cloud looks like a potato. But yeah, so let's go back to like studying in Japan. So, your university is an American university. So, but like before you came back to Japan as a student, you went back to the States?
Yeah.
So,
So
explain
go ahead.
the process, please. Like, how did you find this university you're in at right now? And like, was there any visa support, or like, can you walk us through, please?
So how I found about Temple was because I was in the military. And my last station was in Okinawa. So I feel the military is always pushing Temple University to everybody because it's they have a branch in Japan, in Tokyo. So especially for people that are getting out and you're not choosing to stay in the military, they want to try and set you up for success. So they're like, no, the military will pay for your schooling and your education. So if you like Japan, you want to stay there, you can go to school in Tokyo. So that was always pushed. When I was in. So hearing that, I was like, That's amazing. That's amazing. This is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Mm.
And I contemplated staying in Japan after I got out of the military. Like, so I just either stay in Okinawa or move to Tokyo and just make things work.
Mm.
But I went back to America because I'd been away from home, family and friends for so long. So I wanted to spend time with them. But in my heart, I was like, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
I am coming.
I resonate with this so much because when I came here for holidays the very first time in 2019, it was April. I the echo, yeah, Marie, we know about the echo. We just don't know how to fix it right now.
I'm so sorry.
So we're just going with the flow. Yeah, when I came here for the first time, I thought I might have seen it. I take it off my bucket list, like, that was Japan. But I could not stop thinking about Japan, like, when I returned. Like, I really was like, I want to go there and, like, I want to live there at least for 6 months or a year. I want to dive into that culture. I want to know more about it. And it wouldn't leave my mind, even though everybody who knows me knows I'm a family person, and every weekend I would meet my friends. They would come over to my place, would have board game nights. Like, like I had this like routinized life, and leaving that was really, really like difficult, but I felt this like calling. I don't know if you can say it like that, but
Mm,
I
mm.
think, I don't know, how would you describe it? Like, it just doesn't leave your mind.
I don't know if it's. You could say a calling. The way I described it to other people, because when I told a lot of friends, coworkers, and just people in general that trying to get back to Japan, or I'm finally moving back to Japan. People took it as in that I don't like America anymore, which that's not the case.
No, yeah.
And so the way I explained it was like, do you like don't you have like your own favorite like vacation spot? Some people like, oh, I love to go to Hawaii. It's just I love the environment. I love relaxing there, or I love to go to this place. And I was like, that's sort of what it was like for me. Like Japan has just become my favorite place to go, and there's so much to do and to experience there that to get all that, I need to live there. So it's right now it's my favorite place. I guess.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. And you came back. And I came
Yes,
back.
that was.
I went in 2019, April, and I came back February 2020. So,
Nice.
yeah.
That wasn't a lot of time. Yeah, it was a short amount of time between.
Yeah. I was thinking about it constantly, and then like I opened up to my families and friends, and they were like, kind of like not really surprised because they knew I'm like an otaku. I was obsessed with Japan since I was little, but they didn't actually think I would go through with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did a good job. We're here now.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Yes, please.
How? So I'll give you a backstory first, just so that you understand the context. So one of my best friend. I brought him to Japan. We vacationed here. This is after I left Okinawa and I went back home. We came out to Tokyo for vacation. And he explained to me, he loves anime, video games, Japanese culture, and the cars. So he was like, Japan has always been a place that I wanted to go to, but it just always seemed like out of reach and unobtainable. But then he was like, when I went with you, and yeah, I've lived here before, but he was like, you showed me how easy it was. Like it wasn't unattainable. Like it's doable. So for you, did you have that as well, or how doable was it to come to Japan and move to Japan?
So I think before 2000, like, I don't know, I think I had a lot of growth going on in 2019. I don't know why, but it was just a time where I was reflecting on a lot about my life and about myself. I don't know, that was just a time where everything like came together, because I didn't intend to, like, I before that I wasn't thinking like, oh, I want to live in Japan. Maybe a few years before that, yeah, I was thinking about that, because I was thinking, oh, I want to go to and learn how to draw manga in Japan, you know, like, but it was just always unreachable, because like it was just so expensive. Like I
Mm,
just
mm,
couldn't afford it. And I have a very big family. I have a lot of siblings, so support from my parents financially, or like, that would have been very, very difficult. And also I was in a relationship, you know, so it wasn't like that easy. But I really thought about, if I don't do it now, and it's just stuck in my head, and I can't get rid of this thought of like how it would be to live in Japan. If I don't experience that, it will never leave me. Like, I will always ask myself this question. And I really thought, okay, if I go to Japan now, and even if I don't like it, even if everything I imagine would go great, it just doesn't work out, and all the bad prejudices come true, you know, and I just
mm,
don't enjoy
mm.
it, I can go back. So I really
Yeah,
felt like I
yeah.
have nothing to lose. Even my relationship back then, I wasn't worried about that, or like relationship with my friends as well, or family, because I thought my friends and family will always be there. So I wouldn't go back and be homeless, for example.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I was literally thinking about that. Like, if I go and I come back, what is it that I've lost? Maybe a job and a job opportunity. But that is something I already achieved, and I know I can get it if I really want it. So if I
Hmm,
leave and come
hmm.
back, this is like not a problem for me. Because when it comes to my work skills, I'm pretty confident. And I
Yeah,
was before a
yeah.
huge promotion, actually. Like, when I went in to hand in my resignation, my boss actually thought she's going to officially tell me that I would get the promotion, and wanted to discuss the details. I think that's what she thought. But I handed in my
Uh,
resignation. So,
the
The
opposite.
opposite.
yeah. But yeah. So I think, yeah, yeah. I think you never lose. Even if it's a bad experience and you don't enjoy it, you come back, you've done it, you've planned it yourself.
Hmm, hmm.
You managed to save up for it, which is great. You manage to live in a different country where you don't speak the language, and you manage to survive. That's amazing. So all in all, you gain experience, and that
Yeah,
will
yeah.
never leave you, I think. Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
I'm always giving such long answers. I'm sorry, guys. I'm always like, kind of like, I have too many thoughts in my mind.
Just handing out
Just handing
wisdom.
out wisdom.
Yeah, I'm
Handing out
handing out
wisdom.
wisdom. Here's a little bit of wisdom for you, for you, for you, for you, for your grandmother, for your goat. I love goats. If I would have, I'm, I'm changing subjects, but like, the other day, I know a few of you who follow me on Instagram. I really want to have a pet, and most apartments in Japan, especially Tokyo area, do no pets. So yeah, right. Your apartment too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I anyway, I just go from time to time on like the animal shelter website of Tokyo. And yesterday I saw someone put up a goat. I don't know why it's just not leaving my mind. I still have this like picture of this goat in my head. So yeah. But I was thinking, who has a goat in Tokyo? Like, how?
Goat for
Goat
sale.
for sale.
Anyway, okay. But yeah. Oh, thank you, Marie. Our couch is always free for you. Mr. Boo, you be looking at those bird cages. Yeah, I think you saw my Instagram. Yeah, I really want to convince my landlord that I'll get a pet. He already said okay to a hamster, so we're going to baby steps.
Until we get to the goat.
Yeah, I could just say like hamster. Oh, hamster is the German word for budgie. Oh, there must have been a misunderstanding here. No, let's better not risk it. Okay, so let's get back to the question. So you got got to know about the university through the military, and the military kind of like helped you set up everything, like the student visa and stuff like that, or
Yeah, and so that's one thing that I won't be able to give a lot of input on in terms of obtaining a visa or obtaining a student visa for Japan. Because my process and experience with getting into TUJ, so that's what we call for short, Temple University Japan. So my experience getting into it, I think, was a lot simpler, because I had the military sort of taking care of most of the stuff. So, I had to submit an application, and do some of the same things that other students will do. But when it came down to the visa, it was just I really don't remember too much the process. That's how much it was taken care of. Yeah. And so they were like, all right, we're gonna, just stand by. You'll get an email with some documents. Just sign your name, and then the biggest task I had to do, and this is being on the state side, is to finalize the visa. You have to go to a Japanese embassy, and the nearest embassy for me in Florida was Miami, and I live in Tampa. So it's about a 4-hour drive, I believe. So I had to drive to Miami to sign and turn my paperwork there, get them to officialize it, and then come back. But most of the stuff was sort of taken care of. So I don't know what the process is like for a civilian person who wants to enroll in some university in Japan, or just enroll in other language schools, in Japan.
But for the working holiday visa, it's also like that. It's so easy. Like you just have to provide a few documents, and then you have to go to the embassy. I also had to drive to the embassy. I went with my father. I had to go twice to hand in the visa application and my passport, and then the second time to pick it up because they don't send it to you in Germany.
So get this. When I drove there, I didn't know that you had to make an appointment. Their website didn't specify that. So when I got there, an appointment. No. Can I make one? We don't have any availability. So I was like, I just drove here from Tampa. I just need to give you this paper so I can get to Japan. And they were like, you can mail it in. And so what I did was I left their building, and across the street there was a FedEx. And so I went to the FedEx and mailed it from the FedEx across the street to them.
Bureaucracy sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, you got your visa, so that's good. Yeah. So, great. Another question is did the university provide you or help you find a place to stay? Are you living in a student dorm, or how is your living situation? How does it work?
So for TUJ, your first semester in Japan, they want you to stay in the student dorms. So, and it's just one semester, and they have I think two different dormitories that you can be put into. You also have the option of doing a homestay, which is pretty cool. But I didn't take that route. But after the first semester, that's when you have the freedom to go and get your own place. So you don't have to leave the dorm, but the school will not be in charge of the contract with the dorm, because TUJ does not have their own dorms. It's a building that houses, I think, two other Japanese universities and a Japanese high school, and then there's the second floor is all for TUJ. So you can enter a contract with that building on your own if you want to stay there. But yeah, after the first semester, you can go out and get your own place. So I have my apartment.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the first 6 months you stayed in the dorm.
Yeah.
Did you have your own room, or did you have to share a room, or?
No, you'll have your own room. At the dorms that I stayed in, so the Musashi Kosugi dorms. Shout out to Musashi Kosugi people if you're watching. But there's also the Hakusan dorms, and I believe those some of the rooms do have bunk beds where you share. But during the COVID times, I don't know if they've changed it. They're only allowing one person per room. So I had friends who had two beds, they could do whatever they want with the second bed. So that whole room now is theirs.
Yeah. I used to have a friend here when I arrived in 2020, and she had her own room, but they had really, really strict rules about they were even monitored when they left and entered the building, the dorm. They were not allowed certain times to go out. It was like a private thingy, so they had really strict rules, and it was on the school grounds, so they closed the gates before midnight or something. Yeah, and especially during Corona, they were super strict with it.
I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, that sounds interesting, because I think a lot of people who are considering studying in Japan, they don't know about housing, and I think in general you can stay at the student's dorm, or you find your own apartment, or you stay in a share house. I think these are the three main options, I guess. Yeah. Hi, Nanako. Nice to see you. Otsukare-sama. How are you doing? I heard about your little adventure today. Yeah, so chat, if you guys watching this, if you have any questions about studying in Japan, or just even being a foreigner in Japan, I think it's also very different for a man and a woman, the experiences we have here as foreigners. So yeah, just go ahead and ask everything you want to know, because now we're here and we can reply directly. You're eating dinner? That's good. Enjoy it. Bon appetit. Yeah. And in general, how was your experience so far?
At Tuesday, it's really good. The school is, I would say, the environment, the atmosphere of the school is pretty nice. Obviously, COVID has some kind of effect over it, so it's not as social as it could be. Because university is a very social environment. But outside of that, the parliament or the cafeteria area, there's always people there hanging out, doing classes, studying, eating. The teachers are, in my opinion, good teachers, helpful. They understand that, if you're not understanding something, they're there to help. Not all teachers. And I won't name off names because we experienced some, but most teachers, it's a good atmosphere. So overall, honestly, I'm impressed. I'm happy with this decision. It's not something that I'm looking back. It's like, why did I do this? Or I can't wait for this to be over.
But it is, can it be challenging sometimes with like all the stuff you have to study and prepare, or
Yeah,
slow down?
and right now I've been doing a good job at managing my course load. So when I choose my courses, I try not to choose courses, or I do my research on the courses. I try not to choose a bunch of classes that's going to overload me.
Yeah.
Because I've had some friends who have been just drowning in schoolwork
Yeah.
and assignments, and I know it's eventually probably going to catch up to me, because there's only so many easy or sort of like chill classes
Yeah.
that you can pair with. But right now, it's been a good experience. It hasn't been too much.
Yeah, that's good. Shinya wants to know, how was your time back in the US?
Oh, it was dope, man. The time with the family, the time with the few friends I saw was much needed. I actually didn't go out and do a whole lot. Just because I've lived there, so it wasn't too much new. The important time was to spend with family and friends. But it was great. I am glad to be back, because customer service sucks in America. But
How was traveling to the US and traveling back with, like, did you have to do a lot of testing, waiting, or how was it traveling through a pandemic?
it was not that bad, actually. Traveling there, so to leave Japan, you have to have a negative COVID test, and you have to show your results. So me being a resident here was pretty much my ticket back to Japan.
Yeah.
So once flying through Japan, I had to show my negative result. I had to show my vaccination documentation, and then. Because the flight I bought, I flew through Germany. I know that's the long way, but in Frankfurt, I had to do the same thing. So I had to show my negative results, my vaccination, all the stuff, my resident card. But once I got to America, and I guess that's just how America is now. Everything lacked. It just became very chill. So no one was asking me about COVID results. No one was asking me about vaccination. They were just processing people through. And flying back though, that's when things strict tightened up again. So it had to have your negative test, and they wanted to see all the documentation, and it was like that going through back through Germany and back into Japan. Entering Japan, though, it is a pretty lengthy process. They have an entire terminal cordoned off for all the people coming in. So there's it's not a busy place. It's only for people that are returning from overseas. And you hit multiple stations. There's a lot of waiting. You have to wait for your COVID test. And now they have the whole situation with setting you up for hotels. So there's waiting for that. So it was a couple hours before we actually got to the hotel and got released.
Yeah, but all in all, were like the staff members like friendly, or were they like grumpy, or like?
Of course. In Japan, they were great. Can't say so much for America, but
Yeah, I feel like customer service, or like in general, like in Japan, they really try to go above and beyond. Like, like in terms of like making you feel good, even if they sometimes might struggle or be scared because of language barrier.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, everyone is just very courteous and respectful here in Japan. So.
Yeah. Okay. So we're getting some questions here. Mr. Boo is asking, not sure how tall you guys are, both, have you ever struggled with the size of things in Japan, like doors? I'm above 185 centimeters, so I'm worried that I'll just be banging into everything. Um, if I'm banging into things already with my 163 centimeters, you 100% will bang into things. But yeah, definitely. But also, I think you get used to it, I guess, as a tall person. I don't
I mean,
know.
you have no other choice.
Yeah.
Um, some of the bathrooms and some of the doorways, depending on like certain places,
Mm.
are small. So like
Yeah.
you being 185, my stairway coming upstairs, like halfway through the stairs, there's like a dip, and when I go down, I sort of have to like, and I'm only 173 centimeters,
Mm.
so you would have to really
Yeah.
duck,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
a lot of bathrooms are small,
Yeah.
so your knees might be touching the
I was
wall.
about to say that. Yeah, especially public bathrooms. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went in November, I went hiking and I went to a bathroom and I literally like I went into the bathroom, I closed the door, and I'm not kidding. Like the door was like right
It's right.
here, and I was literally like, wait, I'm not even like I'm 163 centimeters. Like, I'm not even tall. Like the average height of a German woman is 163. I am average, but in Japan, I'm like considered a tall woman. But there are a lot of women who are taller than me here too. So I'm like, how? How? Like, you're
Yeah,
literally like
yeah.
sitting there peeing with like a wall on your face. Like, yeah. So,
And get this, Mr. Biddle. So this was in the dorms, but I'm sure there's other buildings, housing that have showers like this. But our shower, super short ceilings. So when I walked in at 173, I can stand up perfectly fine in it, but I think like lifting my hand just a little bit, like I was touching the ceiling. So you probably might be like hunched over in certain showers.
yeah.
So be
Yeah,
careful.
that's actually a good point because a lot of bathrooms, like you have like a small room, like it's like an entrance room in the bathroom. If you watch my room tour video, my apartment tour video, you will see it. So you enter the bathroom and there's like the mirror, and then there is another small room which is kind of like the shower area. And like you open another small door and you kind of like have to step up.
Step
Yeah.
up.
So that's why sometimes the shower rooms are like not as tall as the as the
Yeah,
rest of the
yeah.
apartment. But I think in like regular apartments or most share houses and stuff, you should be fine. You might have to duck those sometimes with those bathroom doors because they sometimes have like a frame around them, and so which
Yeah,
makes it like
yeah.
even lower. But yeah, I don't know if that happens to you too, but when you get up in the train, I always bump into the handles, like every single time,
Yeah, yeah.
every single time. And like 80% of the times I have to like giggle because I'm like Jess again kind of thing. But can you imagine, like a foreign woman in a in a train full of Japanese standing up, bumping into the handle and then just like doing this, and like everybody's just looking and be like, what's going on with her? Like foreigners are strange. But at least she's having a good time.
And
Yeah.
I'll say for you, at least you're sort
Oh, why did you get smaller?
it sounds like you're.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're.
Sorry. Somehow the image became smaller. I just resized
Oh.
you. Don't worry.
Reset.
Sorry.
No. So when I do that, I don't get used to it, like hitting something. So
Mm.
every time like my head hits a handle, I have like this knee jerk reaction, and I look like a crazy person in the train because I'll stand up wherever, and then I'll stand up wherever. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, like, but that's okay. I think it doesn't hurt bumping into these handles because they like move around. So don't worry about it.
No.
Bathrooms might be difficult for you, but you will fit in them somehow. I just talked about a friend before, right, who was like 2 meters tall. Like in some bathrooms, because he has really long legs. Like he like had to like put his knees up to be able to close the door. But that was like in hotels and stuff, you know, like business hotels, which have like smaller rooms and stuff. But don't worry. There are also tall Japanese people, so
Yeah.
you'll
And
figure it
hopefully
out.
you have a chance to choose your own place.
Yeah,
If someone was
exactly.
like, choosing your own location, then that might be problematic. But I think you can find a place.
Yeah. Okay, so Marie asked, what is it like to learn a foreign language? Were you already good at Japanese before? Did you encounter any problems because of the language? So you go first and then I'll go.
Okay. My answer is short. Even though I've lived in Japan for over 4 years, I have not put a lot of emphasis in learning the language. Most because Okinawa, there's so many Americans that you're not really forced to learn. But here in Tokyo, it's a different experience. So after my first year here, I'm definitely seeing the shortcomings of not knowing Japanese. So this year, it's one of my main goals is to learn. So I don't have too many experiences or much input to give in terms of the process of learning. But give me a few months and I'll be able to fill you in. Jess, back to you.
Who? What? So before coming to Japan, like I took Japanese classes like years ago when I was like 19 or 20. But that was just like a why are you getting tall like big on the screen? I don't know why, but like I'm not touching the laptop or anything, but suddenly your screen just gets like super big.
Expanding. I'm taking over.
Yeah, it's okay. Um, anyway, so like in that course, I learned how to read hiragana and how to introduce myself. But that's basically it. Like that's basically it. And that was like a long time ago. I'm 30 now, so yeah. Since I came here, as Anne said, I don't have as beautiful as a beautiful way to describe it as him, but like I did not really study at all. I'm here almost since 2 years. But I learned by doing. Having worked in an Irish pub with like Japanese customers and like a Japanese boss definitely has helped. But the way I speak really sounds like either a drunk old man, a manga character, or a toddler. This is like my Japanese. Like I don't sound like a proper human being. Like yeah, because my partner is from Osaka, so sometimes I also throw in like Osaka Ben. So sometimes I had housemates from Osaka. So my Japanese is all over the place. But Nanako is here and she can tell you that I'm doing better now. And I've learned a lot of Japanese animals by teaching kids. So yeah. And what is crocodile in Japanese?
I don't know.
Bunny. What is
Bunny.
giraffe in Japanese?
I don't know.
Kirin.
What is alpaca or llama in Japanese?
Alpaca. I don't know. I just said it.
Katakana.
One thing actually I want to say that like really helps you with getting along here is pronouncing English words in katakana, like in a Japanese way. So that actually really helps, I think. Often
Yeah.
when you pronounce it like in a Japanese way, Like let's say like if you would say alpaca, they would be like alpaca, and if you say arupaca, and they would
Yeah.
arupaca, and then you're
Yeah.
like, I just said it, but yeah, because that's the way they like are used to it. So yeah,
And
yeah,
can I caveat with that?
Can I caveat
Uh,
with that?
so for any of
So
the
for any of the
obviously everyone, probably
obviously
majority of people are
everyone, probably
foreigners,
majority
but
of
anyone
people are
from
foreigners,
America,
but anyone
I can
from
definitely
America,
speak to.
I can definitely speak
That
to.
might
That might
sound like racist,
sound like
but it's
racist,
not
but it's
because
not
yeah,
because
katakana
yeah,
uses sort of
katakana uses sort of
Japanese pronunciation
Japanese
to
pronunciation
pronounce
to
words that aren't in the
pronounce
Japanese
words that
language.
aren't in the Japanese language.
So
Um,
you'll be able
so
to get away
you'll be able to
by
get
using a
away
Japanese
by using a
pronunciation
Japanese
for words that you
pronunciation
may not know
for
the
words that
the
you may
actual
not know
Japanese word
the
for.
actual
It's not
Japanese word for.
offensive or
It's
anything like
not
that.
offensive or
So
anything like that. Yeah.
if you're in the right, yeah, do it.
If you're in the
Because
right,
in
yeah, do
America,
it.
you try
Because
and
in
do that
America,
like
you try and do that
with a
like
Hispanic accent or something
with
like
a
that. It can
Hispanic
come
accent or
across
something
as
like
the
that. It
wrong
can
way.
come
And it's like, are
across
you
as the
mocking
wrong
me? Are
way.
you
And it's like,
making
are you
fun of me?
mocking me?
Are you
No,
making
yeah,
fun of
thank
me?
you for
And
explaining.
here's
Yeah, that was
and
not my
it's
intent.
not. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it is, you also have to imagine in a lot of schools, especially public schools, the English teachers are also Japanese, and they might also use a lot of katakana pronunciation. And I've
Yeah.
heard from a lot of students and friends that if you are if you are born and raised in Japan and you're in an English class and you try to pronounce things in proper English, in the correct, yeah, I don't know. English is not my mother tongue. Sometimes the way I say things are simple, and yeah, but like it's not like the correct if you try to pronounce it in the correct way, the class might laugh, because yeah, it's kind of like a group pressure thing. I've heard that a lot of times from students and friends. So that's why they keep continuing using the Japanese pronunciation, because that way you don't like stick out too much and people don't think you're doing something weird. I've
Yeah.
actually heard that a lot of times.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it actually helps you. It's a good advice from both of us. Like, just try it. It's not offensive at all. Yeah. Okay. So Nanako, first of all, Nanako says, Jess, your Japanese is getting better day by day. Okay. Soon I'll be able to
Wow.
name every animal on this planet. Yeah, and she also asks, what was the most shocking thing about Japan or Japanese culture? How long do you think you took to actually get used to your life in Japan? And
Um. So I think I was not prepared
I
for
was not
how
prepared for how
nice
nice
everyone is.
everyone
Coming
is
from America,
coming from
especially.
America,
So that was a big shock to me.
so that was a big
Um,
shock to me.
I'm not saying this to hype
I'm
up
not saying this to hype up
Japanese people, but it's the
Japanese
truth.
people,
Like
but it's the truth.
respect
Respect
and courtesy and
courtesy
just
and
a lot of things
just
go a long way.
a lot of
here.
things go a long
It's
way.
deeply rooted in
It's
Japanese
deeply
culture.
rooted in
The
Japanese
second
culture.
thing that I can
The
think
second
of
thing
off the
that
top
I
of
can
my
think
head
of off the top of my head
is
is
I guess just because of how
I guess
safe
just
Japan
because of
is,
how safe Japan is,
seeing children of ages like
of ages like
five, between like
five,
5 and I
between
don't
like
know,
5
8 or
and I don't know,
9,
8 or 9,
go in convenience
go in
stores
convenience
or walk
stores
the streets at
or
night or take
walk
the
the streets at night
trains
or
by
take the
themselves.
trains by themselves.
It's like it's crazy. It's like they're
It's
mini
crazy. It's like they're mini
adults. Like
adults.
I saw
Like I saw
one girl on the
one
train by
girl on
herself.
the train
She
by
had her book
herself.
bag. She had a
She had her
second
book
bag.
bag. She had a
She had
second
2
bag.
umbrellas. I don't know
She
why
had
she
2
had 2
umbrellas. I
umbrellas.
don't know why she had 2 umbrellas.
We got off at the same stop.
We got off at the
She
same
gets to
stop.
the gate,
She
pulls out
gets
her
to the
card,
gate,
scans
pulls out
it,
her card,
and then pulls out a
scans it,
cell phone
and then
and
pulls out a
calls
cell
someone. And
phone
I was
and
like,
calls
this is
someone. And I was
crazy.
like, this is crazy.
Little
This
tiny girl is,
little tiny girl is,
commuting
commuting
as adults do, as we do. So
adults do,
that
as
was
we do. So
really
that
shocking
was
for me.
really Can I
shocking
just
for
quickly
me.
say something about the phone? Because a lot of kids here, they have a phone around their neck. I don't know if you've seen it. And this is actually called mamorugachi. It's like um, Mamoru is the Japanese word for protect. So, if something happens, the child can just pull the phone off, and that will automatically call a police station. And
Oh, okay.
only if the
Oh, okay.
child itself confirms that it is well off,
Mm-hmm.
the police will not like further investigate. But if the child does not respond, or if there's no response, there will be immediately someone sent off to like check, and they will
Yeah.
actually be able to track the phone. Yeah.
That's
So
that's really that's
yeah,
really neat.
yeah,
That's really
yeah.
neat.
A lot of the kids have it, and I thought, oh wow, they're so young. All of them have phones, but actually, it is like a special phone. There is like a game. They can play like some phone games on it as well. They can send a few messages, but it's very limited because the main reason of having it is the protection. Because
Yeah.
some of them they
Yeah.
actually take the train for about 1 hour for just one way, and we're talking about
Yeah.
like elementary students and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and they
Yeah.
changed trains several times. So, yeah, I agree. Yeah. Was there anything like that really shocked you? Not necessarily in a positive way. You had any negative experiences here?
I wouldn't say
I wouldn't
too
say
shocking.
too shocking.
I've definitely dealt
I've
with,
definitely dealt with,
um,
um,
like people staring at me,
people
or
staring at me, or
people refusing to maybe
people
sit by
refusing to
me
maybe
Mm,
on
sit
the
by
train.
me on the
But there
train.
could be a number of
But there
reasons
could be a
why,
number of
and I
mm,
reasons
don't.
why, and I don't.
It's to me, it's
To me,
wasted.
it's wasted.
It's a waste of
It's a
effort and
waste
thought
of
process to
effort and
like,
thought
why do
process
they
to
choose
like,
not to sit by
why do
me?
yeah,
they choose
So
not to
I
sit
just
by me?
mind my own
So I
business
just
yeah,
mind my own
stuff.
business
yeah,
stuff.
So that was the first time it
So that was
happened.
the first time it
Obviously the
happened.
question
Obviously the
popped across my
question
mind, but
popped across
mm,
my mind. But
what I
what I
thinking right now, there's
thinking right
nothing
now, there's
that
nothing
truly
that truly
took me back. And I was like, I
took me
can't
back.
believe
And I
this
was
mm,
just
like, I
happened.
can't believe
I
yeah,
think I've
this
yeah,
been
just happened.
fortunate
I
in
think I've
that
been
regard.
fortunate in
yeah,
that regard.
yeah. I mean, I do agree with you. Like, if every time someone like is if the seat next to us is free and someone is not sitting next to us, I also try and not like take it personal because there are so many reasons why they
Yeah.
don't want to use that seat. And also, if they choose not to sit next to us because we are foreign, that's their decision
There.
because we are living in a country where over 90% of the population is Japanese. So
Yeah.
seeing foreigners can be scary because it's something unknown. So they might be more scared that like you actually start talking to them in English and they just don't know how to respond, more than the fact that you look different or that you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's more about like, yeah, Japan is a society that thrives for perfection. And being in a situation where you kind of like feel like on put on the spot, and that can very easily happen if you are engaging with foreigners, it's very uncomfortable and scary for them. So I really don't think it's always like, oh, they're so racist. No, no. I
Yeah.
think a lot of times when I hear this statement like Japanese are so racist, I think in a lot of times, not all the times. Of course, there are racist Japanese people, there are racist German people, there are
Very little.
racist Americans, like racist people everywhere. But like most of the time, they just don't know.
Yeah. It's
They really
ignorance.
don't know.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
ignorance. It's just ignorance.
And instead of being offended by it, why not teach them? You know, like I've had a few housemates, Japanese housemates, who made certain comments or about like certain things you're not like you should not joke about or like that could be offensive, and I explained it to them and they were honestly just surprised because they were like, oh, I didn't know this is offensive, I thought this was okay. And now they know, and now they know they shouldn't be doing it, or
Yeah.
they did a joke with me and I was like, oh, good thing you did it with me because someone else might have really felt hurt or attacked.
Yeah.
So, and then you spark conversation and then you talk about it. And if they continue doing it, knowing that it hurts, yeah, well, that's a different story. I
You did
think.
your job, though. You
Yeah,
did your job,
exactly.
though.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think I got used to living here. I got way too used to like accessibilities of like combinis and stuff, especially like in Tokyo area, because we don't have that in Germany or Switzerland. Like combinis everywhere. Also that shops are open here on Sundays. I don't know how it is in America, but in Switzerland and Germany, shops are closed on Sundays.
Mm.
So like just being able to like always get things you need on every single day is actually really amazing, I think.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
yeah, shocking things. Yeah, there have been a few shocking things that happened or moments where I was like really like but they go more into like how should I say? I don't think it's a specific Japan thing. You know what I mean? Like I think it's some shocking situations I've been in, they happened here, but they could have 100% happened anywhere else. It's not
Oh, okay.
Japan
Oh,
exclusive,
okay.
I feel. So things like there is this one thing that is like the chikan. Chikan is like the sexual harassment in trains that has happened to me a few times already. The very first time was actually really funny. And yeah, I'm saying funny. Let me explain why. So the very first time I went, I just arrived in Japan. I was here for like 2 or 3 weeks. And that was just when things started to get a little bit more strict with Corona. And I was in this train and I feel a hand on my butt. And I really feel like the mumi mumi. And I turn around and I look, I see the hand basically like super slow mo, like retreating. And I look into the face of like a 250-year-old man with a fucking breathing device. He was like so old. And I was literally like, wait, what? Like, first of all, yeah, definitely. Like, you don't do it. Like, I'm not saying it's like an excuse. You should never, ever like sexually harass someone. But just the situation for me was like I turn around, I see this and like, and I see this man with like his little like trolley and the breathing device. And I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? I didn't really know any Japanese, like just a little bit. So I just turn around and I point with my finger to him and I just said, yada, which is like a very childish way of saying like, don't.
Yeah.
And
What
yeah,
is what is up with what is up with
as I said, I'm not excusing his behavior, but like that was a really weird interaction. I was like, okay, whatever. But there have been situations where, like in very, very full trains, and if that happens to any of you guys watching, don't worry speaking up about it because there were situations where I was like thinking and not doing anything because I thought I'm telling someone who's maybe not intentionally doing something, like telling them wrong. But you can always say things like, oh, 今日電車はめっちゃいっぱい. Today the train is really full. Because then people know you're aware and you make people aware that like it's too crowded for you. And if you still feel a hand touching you or something like that, then you are sure that this is not like an accident, you know? Or you can even ask someone like to help. Like if you look at someone, because the trains here get so full, you have no clue. Like it's really disgustingly full. I've stopped taking the busy trains because I literally can't breathe because you're so like tightly together with people. Like it's horrible. But like, yeah, this is also perfect for people like to do these things. But these things anyway also happen in other countries. But Japan has like the highest rate of these things happening in like a developed country. So be careful, speak up, ask for help. And yeah. But yeah, other than that, I really enjoy living in Japan, just like you. I'm overwhelmed by the friendliness of people, and they are very welcoming. They are willing to learn if you're also willing to learn. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it's a giving and a taking, taking and giving. So, yeah. Okay. Is there anything about yourself which has been dramatically changed since you started living in Japan? Do you think you know You now have a different perspective on the world or where you are from. Very
Okay.
deep
So
question.
yeah, the second question I can answer easiest. Having lived in a different country, yes, it does change your perspective of the world.
Yeah.
It changes your perspective of your own hometown and where you're from. And I encourage it. So, if you haven't left, sort of your home country, your home state, your home region, do it, because it's nothing but experiences and growth.
Yeah.
Um,
Growth, definitely, yes.
So that's definitely impacted me. In terms of how I've changed since being here, I don't think that I've changed too much. In terms of like Japan has maybe a well, I guess yeah. So because it's not as common to interact with people, say on the train, or as you're just walking, or just if you're in line, something like that. You usually keep to yourself. Or you can do that in America, but it's more open and socially acceptable. So, you see someone to say what's up, or spark a conversation out of nowhere. In the bathroom, spark a conversation. People will talk to you anywhere. So being in Japan, I guess for so long, I think has when I did go back to America, I think I might be more reserved, and I don't start conversations as often as I used to, because I'm so used to not doing it here.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, especially on the train. I don't know, in Switzerland, like all the time, randomly people started talking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just telling you their life story and stuff like that. Whereas here, that might happen with old people, but not in the train, because in the train you don't speak. Like like you can talk, but like in general, like you don't have a like. Yeah, it's a very quiet place, especially during rush hour. But yeah, like I feel like in a neighborhood, if you sometimes walk around or like in a restaurant and you eat by yourself, yeah, older people, they might just start talking to you because they're very lonely. And there are a lot of old people in Japan.
Yeah.
But I do agree with like starting conversations. Like I used to give a lot more compliments to random people. I still do that. I do give compliments, but the reaction is often like of course, they feel happy about it, but the first reaction is always shock. Like,
You're talking to me?
like, like a deer, you know, like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like if I go to the supermarket, and like the other day, the cashier, she had a really beautiful eyeshadow. So, because my Japanese is not good enough to like say specifically, I just said like your makeup is very sparkly, and I just said your makeup is sparkly, pretty. That's basically what I said in Japanese. But like, she was really like, first she was like shocked, then she looked like down, and then like kind of like realizing, oh, she's really talking to me. So I repeated it, and then she was like, oh, arigato, and she just they are just not used to like receiving compliments, especially from strangers.
Yeah.
So they just don't know how to
Yeah.
deal with it. So it can end up into a really awkward situation. Depending where you do it, just be careful, because people might think you have something shady going on. Like if you do that in Shibuya or like Shinjuku, and you go to like random girls and you tell them they look beautiful, they might think you're up to something. So yeah, just be careful with that. Yeah. And also, if random people, Japanese people in like Shibuya or Shinjuku, especially Kabukicho, coming up to you and giving you lots and lots and lots of compliments, and like try to lure you into a conversation, that also might be trying to get you into like a scam situation. So just be careful.
If you're a guy, just avoid Kabukicho.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I go with my male friends and like we have to walk through Kabukicho, because sometimes you miss last train, right? So you just walk from one place to Tokyo to another. Like I always like hook myself into their arms, just so it looks like we are a couple or like we are kind of like together and there's another woman because
Yeah.
they will try and
Yeah.
get you into like every
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
etablissement.
Anytime I've walked through there on my own, and
Mm.
people are tugging me left and right, like, oh, check this out, come over here, come to my place, come to my place. Do you like this? But if I walk with if I'm with a female friend, no one says anything to me.
Yeah.
No one says anything.
Yeah.
So, like,
That's true. Yeah. Nanako says, "Thank you for answering my questions." You're very welcome, Nanako. Thank you for joining the stream. Thank you for asking these interesting questions.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I think if I return back to Germany for like a holiday or something, I will also be a bit more reserved. Or if someone randomly starts talking to me, I'll first be
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
Japanese people I usually give compliments to.
Eight.
Me? Yeah. But I also do agree with what you said with the growth. Like, I think moving countries and especially moving like to the other side of the world, but it can also be a neighboring country. I also first moved to Switzerland. So that just gives you so much new input and so many new experiences are waiting for you and so many new interactions. It's just a constant learning process. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, like because when you were in school, you had different subjects and every day you would learn something new. And then it started getting boring because, oh, I've already discussed this topic in eighth grade. Why do I have to discuss it again, right? And it's the same with like moving places. Even if you don't feel confident or like comfortable leaving your home country, maybe try and move to another city or something just to get some new input. If you feel like you want to experience something new, an environmental change is always amazing. New people, yeah, new places, and also the seasons here, just the nature here, just alone that, like having a clear spring, summer, autumn, winter. Like I love Japan for it's like really distinct, like okay, this is spring, this is summer, whereas in Europe it kind of like there are no transitions anymore. Like it's suddenly, oh, where was spring? Why is it already like 30 degrees? Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah. But in
Yeah.
Japan you have sakura, then you have really the like deadly summer. Then you have autumn with the with the momiji, with the autumn leaves. Very beautiful. My favorite season in Japan actually. And then you have winter with snow and really cold and gloomy weather. Yeah. What is your favorite season in Japan?
Mm, I guess I'd have to say spring
Mm.
or summer. I prefer
summer.
being hot over cold, like extremely cold.
Cold.
But I do enjoy the winters here because I like winter clothing. I like
Mm.
I like layers and jackets, layers like that. So I prefer the hotter temperatures.
Yeah.
I'm not against winter.
Okay. Yeah. I love autumn here because you can really do like a casual layered look here because they're really like really warm autumn days actually. So you don't already have to jump into like really warm clothing. You can have like the in-between clothing. That's
Yeah.
why I also like spring. I love
Yeah.
this like layer look, like the in-between transition thing. Yeah. I don't know what my posing is. I'm like summoning something.
It's a thumbnail. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Okay, so do you guys have any more questions? We've been doing this for a while now. The stream
Yeah.
is going on for
I was
a
gonna
long
say,
time.
how long are your streams usually?
They usually go until 11 or 11:30. So usually I will just give a quick heads up before I go offline because sometimes there's a delay and then some people might have questions. So yeah. But like within the next 5 minutes, I think we will be calling it a day because I need to get up early tomorrow as well.
I don't.
Yeah, I was just like saying like you. Yeah, you're in quarantine.
Although I am excited about tomorrow. I ordered some new, I guess, furniture pieces.
Oh, nice.
Because like I said, I'm gonna try and do my YouTube setup. In my studio area. So I ordered some furniture pieces for that, and so I'm excited to sort of set that up and
Nice.
see how it really looks.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll check it out in your videos. Or maybe you
Yeah.
also invite me to your place. You've been to
Yeah.
mine.
So and it's and right now I only have one chair. But when we start doing videos, I'll get a second chair, and it's gonna be awesome.
Okay, thank you. Guys, you heard it. He'll get a chair for me. Marie says winter isn't coming in Germany. It's warm. Usually it comes in maybe February sometimes. So maybe wait. Sometimes we think if it hasn't been winter like in January, we think it's kind of over, and then like it slaps you in the face in February. So just wait.
Well,
It might come.
winter never comes in Florida or Okinawa.
That's true.
So
That's true. I only went to Orlando and Fort Lauderdale.
yeah, Orlando is about an hour and a half away from where I live.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale is full of retired people.
Yeah. I've never been, but I heard
A lot of old rich people.
that's Florida in general.
That's true.
Yeah, a lot of people have like
vacation
homes.
Yeah, that's what we used. We used vacation home of a friend's father's.
Hitting the stereotype right on the head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One thing I still want to tell you guys before we like wrap it up, and that is that Ant and I will be doing a lot of things in the future together. We've been planning quite a lot of things, actually too many to do at once. And yeah, you might see him again on a stream. We just got another question.
A good one.
A very good one. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, Mr. Boo asked, have you guys ever met Yakuza or seen anything sketchy? Jess, I'm gonna let you take first on that.
Well, yeah, I'm basically living with the Yakuza. My landlord is, we suspect him to be one, but like, you can tick off every single like checkbox, like, yeah. But he's a really nice guy, and sketchy things, yeah, I've seen a lot of sketchy things in Japan, and I don't know if you know the story, and I've definitely told that story here on stream already, is that in my second weekend, when I arrived in Japan, someone tried to pull me in their car. So that was more than sketchy, and it was very scary.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there are sketchy people here, and I used to live in Arachiku, which is like the ghetto of Tokyo, and yeah, there are a lot of gangsters or like sketchy people at night. During the daylight, it's a family area. It's crazy. The contrast is crazy. But yeah, there are quite a few, but please keep in mind as well that like Yakuza is not in most cases what Yakuza used to be. Like every Japanese person I met and they talk about Yakuza, they say Yakuza is dying. Every year it's declining because there are not a lot of people who want to do that anymore. And a lot of them, they're like second or third generation Yakuza, so they just live off the money or the income of like their grandparents or like something like that. So not the cleanest money, but yeah, they're like investing in buildings, like building apartments and stuff like that. I know that's called money laundering, but like I guess yeah, not with like cutting off your pinky finger if you do something wrong and stuff like that. Yeah. What about
I've seen I've seen people. So, um, first of all, there's a lot of bars, clubs, izakayas that are ran by Yakuza. And it's a lot of them are pretty easy to tell. You know, the guys hanging out in front of it, like you can tell. Some of them are harder to tell than others. So I've seen a lot of those. And Okinawa. At the time, I didn't know, but I used to frequent certain bars that were Yakuza ran or izakayas that were Yakuza ran.
Yeah.
And that's where I did see a gentleman sitting 2 seats next to me who was talking to the sous chef. And he was missing his pinky and his ring finger, both at the knuckle. So I was like, oh, he's Yakuza. Never. Well, I guess I have met someone. So
Yeah.
this was in Okinawa. I was in a club. Saw one of my female friends. And she was with one of her friends. So we're catching up. We're talking. Her friend didn't know any English. So my friend is acting as a translator. As we're having the conversation. We step outside because we want to get something to eat. And as we're walking back to the club, a van pulls up, like comes to a screeching halt. The doors open up. I'm getting protective, so like I put my arms up, and like I'm trying to hold them back. And my friend walks up and starts talking with the guy. And the guy is like, it's very frantic. And so I'm like, what is going on? And then she comes back and she's like, I'm sorry, Aunt, we have to go. And she grabs the girl. And they get in the van and they peel off, like just take off. And I'm just in the street like, what just happened? So the next day, my friend texted me and she was like, sorry about last night. She was like, the girl that I was with, her grandfather passed away, and he is a high figure in the Yakuza. So they called everybody back in. And I was like, what are you doing with people with the Yakuza? And she was like, the bar I work at. She was like, the bar I work at. And I was like, so that was my closest interaction with.
But this is the thing. It's so anime and manga like, right? Like a car stopping by, just shouting, random things happen, people leave.
It was so fast, so hectic. Like I was literally dumbfounded. I was scared for them. The fact that she knew, like she was talking to them, and she was like, "We have to go." And she was like, "I was like, I hope they're okay." But like, I hope.
Yeah, because what do you do in this situation? I think in this situation would have went to like the police or something. Like, my friend just got kidnapped. You know what I mean? Like things like that. But yeah. But it is true that like there is still like Yakuza presence, and especially like older people working in bars and stuff, like you might see these things like with the cut off like fingers. I do have a lot of friends who come to Japan frequently and who choose to go to Yakuza run onsen because they allow people with tattoos. Not all onsens that allow people with tattoos are Yakuza run. That's not what I'm saying. But you are business to them. They won't do anything to you. They won't harm you, usually. Like, I've never heard of a story like that. So don't be too scared. But that reminds me, because I lived in Adachi, and there are a lot of, like, Adachi is now pretty cheap to buy, like, land and build houses because everybody avoided it because there was, like, a high concentration of Yakuza there. And you actually see it if you walk around. Like, you see, like, the flags with the family crests and all these things. So I went to an onsen there, even though it says no tattoos allowed. I went alone by myself, and I was like sitting in the onsen in the hot water, and a woman came, and she was like so beautiful, and she had like traditional Japanese tattoos and like 2 kamon tattoos. Kamon are the family crests. And I was really surprised, but I was also stunned by how beautiful this woman was, because I was literally like
in the onsen.
Yeah.
In the
onsen. Whoa. But anyway, so I was then talking to my friends. Yeah. I was talking to my friends, and they said, they explained to me that there are a lot of Yakuza living here, and she's probably a daughter of a Yakuza boss or something like that. So and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But as I said, most of them, the younger ones, they're just living off the luxury of like the leftovers kind of thing. They still do show. I don't know if you knew this. Like every year, there's like this big, most important, biggest yakuza meeting of all the yakuza bosses, and it's broadcasted on TV actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is
Like
it?
I watched it a few times, and it's just like a few oji-chans, like all old men standing there with
Yeah.
like, and then
Yeah.
like some of them they wear like traditional clothing, and like they have like piece of paper, like, and some people like write stuff, and like it's really interesting to watch or to know what it is, but it's actually really boring because it's just a few old men talking. But yeah, so you will definitely see Yakuza. There is another wave of like group that's like, or type of gangsters that is coming up in Japan, and that they are called hangure, and they are like the younger generation of gangsters. So I don't know if you've seen things on the news or something, but that looks pretty wild. Like for example, you like it's like Yakuza against Hangure. I think it's a little bit the same what happens in Boku no Hero Academia, My Hero
Mm.
Academia, where you have like the
Mm.
Yakuza and just the regular um, bad guys, gangsters. And the Yakuza doesn't want to be associated with them, and they kind of like fight against each other, or like they have some things going on. And this is exactly what is happening in real life here. Like you sometimes see footage of like, let's say the car of a Yakuza boss stopping at a traffic light, and then you just have like 5, 10 hangures with like baseball bats, and they just like smash the car, and then they just run away. Or you see the Yakuza guy like just driving over them. So this is what is happening, but this is only between them.
Yeah.
It's not.
So
They
yeah.
usually don't get others involved.
So we're safe.
We are
So we're
kind of
safe.
safe, yeah. Just don't get super drunk, because then they like pull you into their etablissements, and then you have to pay a lot of money. But you will
And
lose
don't
maybe some money.
and don't
But yeah, if a foreigner disappears and they were last seen with one of them, this is gonna make the news. You know what I mean? Like this
Yep.
is like a really big deal.
Yep.
But usually they stick with each other, so yeah. Yeah. But your story with like the van like screeching and like just stopping in front of you, that's so wild.
Honestly, now when I think back on
Honestly,
it,
now when I think back on
I'm
it,
more shocked at the
I'm
fact
more
that my
shocked at
friend
the
was
fact that my friend
potentially
was
trying to set me up
potentially trying to set
with not
me up
only a girl who's
with not
in the
only a girl
Yakuza,
who's in the
but
Yeah.
Yakuza,
her
but
grandfather
her
was a
grandfather
important
was a
figurhead
important
in the
figurehead
Yakuza.
in
Like,
the Yakuza. Like,
you're trying to set me up with that?
you're trying to set me up with that?
Crazy.
Crazy.
Dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And show me your hands. How many fingers do you
Yeah. Cause
Yeah.
gonna end my life.
Yeah.
Gonna end my life.
But I think we're gonna kind of like end it here, and I think we can do another live stream somewhere in the future, and then we can share about like our most anime like experiences here in Japan.
Yeah. Let's talk about the good stuff.
Let's talk about the
Because
good stuff.
living here literally is like living in an anime. Yeah. The only thing I haven't seen is a Kamehameha, like, but I've seen anything else, so.
I've seen people try. I've seen
Yeah,
people
yeah,
try.
me too. Shibuya Center Street, you see everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thanks everybody for joining, and please give applause to Anne for joining, because it was really fun with you. The time went by really fast.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the questions.
Thanks for the questions
that you provided, and thank you for
that
the
you
questions
provided,
that
and thank you for
everyone
the
in the audience
questions that
provided. It was,
everyone in the
this was really
audience
fun.
provided.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
This was really fun.
Yeah, we should
I enjoyed it.
definitely do that more often. So, yeah. And as I said, guys, if you have any questions, you can ask me on Instagram. You can ask on the live stream. I stream every Thursday at 9 p.m. Japan time. And I will start streaming on Tuesday mornings, Japan time, which is going to be, I think, Monday evening in the States. So yeah, so you guys who are tuning in from the States, it's not like early morning for you guys. So
You'll be all right.
yeah.
You'll be all right.
So thank you for your support. And because I was asked a few times, I have a link to a coffee in case you want to like support further. Because I've got a few questions about that, and I don't know how these things work, and I feel weird like telling you these things, but like I'm just gonna mention it. So yeah, and don't forget to check out Anne's YouTube channel, A Teams Nation. I also put a link in the description down below, so you can just click on it. And yeah, have a great evening, everybody, and we'll see you very soon. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. Danny.